mountain brigade in Manipur, a mountain division in Upper Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, and the foreign training team in Bhutan as Commandant Indian Military Training Team. He has also been a senior commander in the United Nations mission in Sudan during the civil war in undivided Sudan. During his service, the general officer has held many staff and instructional appointments. He has served at the Infantry School Mao, was director in Perspective Planning Directorate of the Army Headquarters, and Brigadier General Staff of the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. The general officer has been awarded the Ati Vishist Seva Medal, the Yudh Seva Medal, and the Chief of Army Staff's Commendation. He also received 3 times the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief Commendation from Northern Command, Western Command, and the Training Commands, and also the Force Commander's Commendation from the United Nations mission in Sudan. During his tenure as Commandant, Indian Military Training Team, the General Officer assisted and supervised the UN mission deployment for first ever contingent of Royal Bhutan Army and prepared the roadmap for implementing computing and cyber security module of National Service Program in Bhutan. For his dedication and selfless efforts, the General Officer received a letter of appreciation from His Majesty, the King of Bhutan, Chief Operations Officer, Royal Bhutan Army, and the Ambassador of India to Bhutan. The officer is academically inclined and holds 2 master's degrees in defense studies and business administration. He has also been a senior research fellow at India's oldest think tank, the United Service Institution of India, where he published the highly acclaimed book, China's Strategic Behavior. If you now look to your left, you will see a buggy drawn by horses, in which the commandant, as per the tradition, is arriving.
From learning and developing different skill sets in the academy, to being a part of various clubs, to surviving in the wilderness on their own when they go for their training camps, developing the confidence and ability to stay without sleep, rest, lugging loads to long distances, to helping others and moving as a team, to developing the spirit of brotherhood, this academy has taught them all. Today, these cadets will proudly experience
minus 30 minutes and counting.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. A warm welcome to each and every one of you on this bright sunny day, which marks a golden milestone in the annals of Indian space journey. It's a matter of great pride to note that the first ever Indian private rocket has come to the stage of its maiden flight today, thanks to the relentless efforts of the Indian space community, aided by the recent reforms in space sector. Today's mission reflects the power of synergy between the government and the private sector, facilitated by the InSpace. It is poised to boost the confidence of more such startups in venturing towards space journeys for which the sky is the limit. The presence of Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State in the PMO, Science and Technology, Space and Atomic Energy, adds to the enthusiastic air that fills the Satish Dhawan Space Center here at Sriharikota today. I am Jay Singh from DD News, Chennai, and I am joined by Mr. Abhay Kumar from Skyroot Aerospace and Ms. Mathuri from ISRO. It was the launch of India's first indigenous sounding rocket, Rohini 75, on November 20, 1967, that marked a new beginning for the Indian space industry. There has been no looking back for the Indian space sector since then. With the constitution of the Indian Space Research Organization ISRO on August 15, 1969, the Indian space program gained momentum. India soon entered the global ranks with the launch of India's first satellite, Aryabhatta, on April 19, 1975. In this journey of more than 5 decades, enriched with multiple milestones, including the epoch-making Chandrayaan and Mangalyaan missions, the Indian space sector capabilities have grown manifold. All thanks to the scientists and leadership team of ISRO. Till date, ISRO has made immense contribution to the success of the Indian space sector and placed India among the top few spacefaring nations in the world. Fast forward to 2019, we saw a new turning point in the journey of India's space sector, when the Union government decided to set up the New Space India Limited, NSIL, under Department of Space, DOS, to commercialize the research and development work of ISRO. It was followed by a visionary and path-breaking decision in June 2020, when the central government opened up the space sector to enable the participation of Indian private sector in the entire gamut of space activities. The decision was taken to enable private firms in building their own rockets, satellites, related ground equipment, etc., so that it contributes to the holistic development of India's space sector. Following the vision of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to enable seamless participation from private players in India's space sector, the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center InSpace was constituted in June 2020. It was formulated as a single window, independent nodal agency, which functions as an autonomous agency in the Department of Space of Government of India to boost private space sector economy in India. It was a very significant step taken by Government of India to tap the immense potential of Indian space sector and increase India's share in the global space economy. To give you some context, global space sector is witnessing rapid growth. A recent report projects the global space economy to be worth $469 billion, which grew by 9% from 2020 onwards. It means there is a lot of scope for India to tap this vast market. Hence, the recent space sector reforms were brought in to enhance India's share in global space market, majorly through private sector participation. After the announcement of InSpace, its headquarters was set up in Bhopal and was inaugurated on 10th June 2022 by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. He termed the launch of InSpace as a watch this space moment for the Indian space industry, as it would be a precursor to many developments and opportunities in the Indian space sector. He gave the slogan, InSpace is for space, InSpace is for pace, InSpace is for ace, and emphasized on how InSpace, ISRO, NSIL together along with active participation from the private sector, would take Indian space sector beyond the limits of the
Event
sky.
number 35 confirmed.
The introduction of InSpace as an autonomous body added a new dimension to the government's vision of bridging the gap among the government and private entities working in the space sector. Since its
Block was one to
inception,
control.
InSpace in coordination with
Applied
ISRO
calling,
has been
programmer.
playing a pivotal role in boosting the private sector space economy in India. With its role as a promoter, enabler, authorizer, and
requesting
supervisor,
permission to power on the
InSpace is acting as the cornerstone of space reforms in the country. It has been working closely with the industry,
Launchpad calling
especially
program and
the
RSO.
young
Preliminary
startups,
setting completed for the launcher.
Noted.
with ISRO and its centers, NSIL, and with various
Focus 1 to
departments
all
of the
stations.
government like
Initiating
Department
vehicle
of
power on.
Space, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Department of Telecom, and Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade to facilitate and authorize the space non-governmental entities, NGEs, to undertake space activities in the country. The space sector reforms have opened a whole new world of opportunities for the industry. There is a revolutionary change that can be seen in the private space industry. We can clearly see an increasing interest from the private players in the sector in last 1 year. There has been a
Block was one to all
massive boom of
stations. Vehicle
startups
powered on.
in the space tech sector. Number of space startups have gone up. As per the Economic Survey of India, till 2021, there were more than 100 space startups registered, which is a jump of close to 500% in the last 5 years. The numbers are set to increase further with reforms by the central government and increase in investment. Traditional vendors to ISRO and MSMEs are diversifying by going up the value chain. L&T and Bharat Electronics Limited, through a consortium, have come forward to take a giant step to manufacture the PSLV rocket. Investment in space sector is increasing. Recently, Skyroot Aerospace received the highest ever funding in the form of venture capital of 51 million US dollars, followed by Agnikul Cosmos, which received a funding close to 20 million US dollars in November 2022. This depicts the rising confidence amongst the investors in the vibrant Indian space sector as an expected outcome of this deregulation brought in by the space reforms. In addition, ISRO is going all out to help NGEs to help give access to its ecosystem and its expertise. In fact, next big milestone is going to be the launch of Agni-borne sorted suborbital rocket by Agnikul Cosmos, an aerospace startup incubated at IIT Madras. InSpace team is working with Agnikul to enable the launch of their suborbital flight in coming months. InSpace, along with NSIL, is playing an important enabling role in this coming age of the Indian space sector. The growing number of applications received by InSpace from space NGEs is a testimony to the growing momentum in the private space sector. Till date, InSpace has received more than 150 proposals from startups, MSMEs, and industries online, enabled by InSpace digital platform for new space ventures and activities. InSpace has signed 16 memoranda of understanding and issued 5 authorizations to space non-governmental entities for undertaking space activities in the country. It is continued efforts to scale newer horizons in India's space domain. On 16 November 2022, InSpace authorized the first ever private sector launch of a launch vehicle by Skyroot Aerospace, a Hyderabad-based space startup. And today is going to be a memorable day in the history of Indian space sector when the first ever launch of a privately designed and built rocket from India will take place from ISRO Spaceport Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh.
Namaskar, very good morning, and welcome to the live coverage of India's first private sector rocket launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, the Spaceport of India. We are around 20 minutes away from the launch, And I'm Abhay Kumar from Skyroot Aerospace, live together with my fellow commentators. And in a few moments, we will be executing India's first private launch from this very launch complex, which has seen hundreds of ISRO launches over the last 50 years. The entire Skyroot team is excited to bring to you the first of many such endeavors. On screen, the rocket all ready for the launch, undergoing final preparations. And we are launching today. And let me introduce to you the VIKRAM-S rocket,
Launch pad, please,
named after the famed scientist and the founder of Indian space program, Dr. Sarabhai.
Please repeat the
On the
value.
screens, a view from MCC,
Azimuth
where the esteemed guests
120.5,
and
elevation
participants. Now back to the
78.1.
view from
Okay,
the
message noted.
launch pad, where last minute preparations are going on, and we are all very close to the launch. On your screens now, the VVIPs as well.
Noted.
Namaste viewers, I am
Go
Madhuri,
ahead.
Deputy Manager Valve SDSC SHAR, welcoming you with my fellow commentators from the Mission Control Center for this momentous launch.
Blockhouse 1 to COT.
You have just now watched the launch vehicle
Current
on the
change of
launch pad and few visuals from the Mission Control Center where the team from Skyroot Aerospace are all eager to witness their first ever launch of VIKRAM-S. Let me introduce Skyroot Aerospace to our viewers. Skyroot Aerospace is a two-time national award-winning space startup founded by Pawan Kumar Chandana and Nagabharat Dhaka. This largest privately
That's
funded
and control.
space startup in India has
Madam,
reached
kindly
launch
note that event
just
number
within
41.
4
Can you
years
kindly
of its
confirm?
incorporation with more than
Please
200
stand by,
employees
safety
with an
officer.
average age of less than 30
Okay,
years.
message noted.
This is the team of Skyroot Aerospace.
COT, go ahead.
You see the Skyroot Aerospace team at their facility at Hyderabad. The dedication with which they have worked for.
You can see on your screen photo of Honorable Prime Minister. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi along with the two co-founders taken in front of their rocket stages. This was taken when Honorable Prime Minister met them during the inauguration of InSpace headquarters. So what is special about today's launch?
17 minutes.
Yes, माधुरी, आज बहुत ही विशेष दिन है. एक
control to
नए
P1,
आरंभ का प्रारंभ हो रहा है
P3,
Skyroot द्वारा.
P4,
And let me tell you that this is a very special day for Skyroot Aerospace, where the company is launching its maiden rocket under the name Prarambh, means the beginning, signifying a new era of the private sector in India. And the first mission of Skyroot, the Prarambh mission, was unveiled at ISRO headquarters, Bangalore, after the technical clearance from the space regulator
Blockhouse 1
in
to
space.
COT. Please turn on.
Prarambh
pulses.
mission
Please
aims
turn
to
on
launch
pulses.
VIKRAM-S, a suborbital rocket from the launching facility at Sriharikota. Some of the pre-integration activities are on your screen. The VIKRAM-S is a single-stage solid-fuel suborbital rocket which takes about 2 years to develop and has been built in India using advanced technologies. One of the key technology is the vehicle structure is built from carbon fiber, which is 4 times lighter than steel, making it one of the India's few space vehicles to do so. The other key technology is the use of 3D printing,
Calling P2.
which was used to build the 4 thrusters, which offer the spin stabilization to this aerodynamically stable rocket. View from the VIP galleries on MCC. Madhuri, I would like to ask you that why don't you tell us something more about Vikram rocket?
Yes, sir. As we are just
Noted.
15 minutes,
Turning off
about
keypad
20
transponder.
seconds away from the launch, it's appropriate to let the viewers know more about the
Blockhouse to SHAR 1 and
VIKRAM-S
SHAR 2.
launcher.
Turning off S-band power amplifier.
The overall dimension
SHAR
of the
1 and 2
rocket
copy.
is 6 meters in height and around 380
Go ahead.
mm in diameter, with an overall lift-off mass of 545
Control
kg.
to P1.
The vehicle is powered by a single-stage solid propulsion system called Kalam-80, which has a burn time of 23 seconds
P3 confirmed.
and a
P4
peak
confirmed.
thrust of 7 tons. VIKRAM-S has a capacity to lift
Please,
off
confirm.
and climb to an altitude of over 80 kilometers, which is commonly
go ahead,
defined
madam.
as the beginning of space. However, this first mission will be a success if the vehicle crosses 50 kilometers in altitude.
Okay, ma'am. Message
As a
noted.
comparison to our viewers,
Okay, madam.
a
Message
normal
noted.
passenger flight flies at an altitude of nearly 10 kilometers.
Vehicle is powered off and health of the vehicle is observed to be nominal.
Please stand by for a video on from the co-founders of Skyroot Aerospace, the CEO, Mr. Pawan, and the CEO, Mr. Bharat. Please stand by for the video.
This mission, we have flight proven several critical technologies that go into our Vikram series of space launch vehicles, such as avionics,
Launchpad calling clock.
propulsion systems, carbon
Please
composite
confirm
structures,
vehicle off.
and thermal protection systems. This milestone would not have been possible without the great support we received from ISRO and InSpace, who worked with us hand in hand throughout our journey.
This is such a landmark event for the country. We thank the Prime Minister of India for creating space reforms which enabled us to achieve this milestone. This Vikram rocket can reach hypersonic speeds, that is 5 times the speed of sound within just 25 seconds and reach space within just 150 seconds. This Vikram rocket is one of the world's first few rockets built with all carbon fiber structure, and it has 4 3D printed engines for creating roll stability for the rocket. We at Skyroot have been waiting for this moment for long, and Team Skyroot has been working several months towards this great milestone.
Welcome back to the live coverage. On your screens now, the Skyroot rocket VIKRAM-S all set to launch. You can see final activities, last minute activities going on, and soon the launch pad will be cleared. Now you have the view from MCC, where we are having our VIP guests, Sri Pawan Goenka, Chairman InSpace, on your screens, very intently discussing final aspects of the pre-launch preparations. And now on your screens, the mission profile which this rocket is going to follow. After liftoff from the Sounding Rocket Complex at Sriharikota, using the standard launcher here, we will lift off. The rocket will fly, move on the rocket rails, the launcher rails, for around 0.73 seconds. And around 100 milliseconds after that, that is around 0.8 seconds, the spin rockets will be fired to stabilize the rocket. Then the aerodynamics will kick in, and the fin cants will maintain the spin stabilization. The rocket is all through aerodynamically stable, and that is how the control is offered. Around 15 seconds, we will experience the maximum Q and the maximum loads on the vehicle. And we will reach an altitude of more than 80 kilometers and finally splash down and see some 134 kilometers away from Sriharikota coast. So this is the summary of our profile, and you can see the mission is well planned, and we are all waiting for this mission to successfully happen in around 11 minutes, 18 seconds from now, when the liftoff will take place. We will continue our mission speech like this. And Madhuri, why don't you take us further in terms of what is the weather climate and what are the further flight profiles?
Yes, sir. It's a bright sunny morning here in Sriharikota with the benign winds. The ground wind speed is likely between 7 to 8 meters per second. However, the vehicle is capable to thrive in much higher winds of up to 25 meters per second. The nominal liftoff of VIKRAM-S from Sriharikota is at 11 hours 30 minutes on 18th of November 2022. The range and tracking operations for VIKRAM-S are being undertaken by SDSC SHAR range operations at ISRO. Telemetry data will be captured by ISRO Telemetry Tracking and Command Network Station of ISRO and relayed to the control center.
The seamless joint efforts of various ISRO
Minus
centers,
10 minutes.
including the SDSC SHAR, ISTRAC, VSSC, Skyroot team, and InSpace, have enabled the Skyroot VIKRAM-S rocket to be launch ready in a short period of time. InSpace Technical Mission Readiness Review Committee members from ISRO centers, InSpace ex officio experts from ISRO rigorously reviewed launch vehicle and integration preparation and gave guidance to enable final launch clearance. The maiden rocket launch for Skyroot Aerospace is perhaps the most important milestone for the Indian private space sector since the space reforms announced by Government of India. Though one small step, it is a giant leap to demonstrate the ability of the Indian space private sector. This will pave the way for many such private sector launches. The path-breaking launch of the first indigenous sounding rocket Rohini 75 that took place in November 20, 1967 laid the foundation of the Indian space program and changed the trajectory of the Indian space sector. Likewise, mission Prarambh, which is the first Indian private sector launch, marks the beginning of a new dawn and which will propel the Indian space sector into next orbit.
So we are about 8.5 minutes away from the launch. Why don't you in the meantime tell the viewers what is the objective of today's mission and whether VIKRAM-S is carrying with it any payload?
Thank you, Madhuri. View from the MCC. We continue to monitor the launch very closely. And as you have asked, what is the objective of today's mission and what is flying abroad on board today? So to tell you briefly, to tell our viewers briefly,
Minus
Prarambh mission is a technology demonstrator flight which will help
Go ahead.
test space-grade hardware and systems and validate technologies that will be used in the subsequent launches coming up next year for Skyroot. The company is working on 3 orbital class rockets in the Vikram series, again named after the founder of space program, Dr. Sarabhai. VIKRAM-S carries with its 3 customer payloads, which are non-deployable PCB-based payloads equipped with sensors and instrumentation to validate the flight worthiness and the payload integration process. Now, we have this a very interesting thing which is flying with the vehicle is something called Hello Space cards. What we have done is, it is something special, and we have made cards called Hello Space cards, and they are flying on board carrying wishes, good wishes of 300 people who have contributed to this mission from Skyroot, ISRO, and InSpace. So we have put these cards on the vehicle, and this vehicle is going to carry these cards in around 6 minutes and 43 seconds from now. You can see the launch pad has been cleared of men. And yes, please stand by for an interview by Chairman InSpace, Dr. Pawan Goenka. We will shortly show you an interview with Dr. Pawan Goenka, Chairman InSpace.
Health is observed to be nominal. Proceeding
Today is a
switch over
historic
to interval
milestone day in India's private sector's journey into the space sector. This has been possible because of the space reforms announced by the Government of India in June 2020. And the Skyroot Aerospace team, in a very short period of 2 years, have come to this point where they could launch the suborbital vehicle, VK-S. The ISRO team, the InSpace team, have played a big role in enabling the launch today. And I'm looking forward to a successful launch and a start of a new era in India's space sector.
Back to the live feed,
MCC.
where the rocket view is available to you. The Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh, flanked by Chairman ISRO and Department of Space Secretary Shri S. Somanath, and also by Shri Pawan Goenka, Chairman of InSpace. These dignitaries have graced this occasion, and it shows the importance. It shows the importance of the launch and the importance
safety officer
the
here,
which
even number
the
65
government of
completed.
India is according to this launch. 4 minutes, 52 seconds to the launch, and we are honored and we are inspired to see the top leadership of this country in the space sector.
Sharwan to blockhouse, the data reception is nominal. The signal strength observed is also good.
In the space sector,
Roger.
supporting this launch.
Blockhouse
And
1
as
to
we all
all
know,
stations.
this today
VIKRAM-S
definitely is a
powered on
historic
and
day,
running on its
where
own
after opening the space sector, with the government support, with the support of agencies like InSpace, the facilitator, and with the support of ISRO, with the facilities which ISRO has created over the years, we are all set to create another history today, where India takes a giant leap towards private sector participation in the space industry.
Minus 4 minutes.
3 minutes, 58 seconds to the launch, and all clear. Weather you can see is very fine here. As my colleague has already told, उन्होंने बताया है कि मौसम बहुत ही बढ़िया, मौसम बहुत ही अनुकूल, हवाएं बहुत ही धीमी गति से 7 या 8 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटा की रफ्तार, 7 या 8 मीटर प्रति सेकंड की रफ्तार से हवाएं बह रही हैं, और हमारे रॉकेट जो है ये डिजाइन किया हुआ है करीब करीब 25 मीटर्स पर सेकंड वेग तक इस रॉकेट को हम लॉन्च कर सकते हैं। इस बढ़िया मौसम के हम इंतजार कर रहे थे, और हमें आज ये अवसर मिला है, और हम इस लॉन्च के काफी करीब हैं। अब सिर्फ 3 सेकंड बच गए हैं।
As we wait for the history in the making, the launch of a first privately owned company from the Indian soil.
Minus 3
These
minutes.
are the views from the Mission Control Center VVIP gallery with the top brass of ISRO, along with Chairman in Space and the Honorable Minister, eagerly waiting for the launch. We are about 2 minutes 40 seconds from the launch.
The efforts of more than 4 years are coming towards the first fruition, which will give
Blockhouse 1 to
a
blockhouse 2.
stepping
Please confirm
stone
event number 60 and
to
61.
all of us. And on your view, the final views of the rocket as it prepares to take off, all the preparations are in place, all parameters behaving normally, and the launch being intently monitored. We will, Madhuri, why don't you tell us about a very important procedure called wind weighing for this stable rockets?
Yes, sir. As we wait for the launch, let me just throw some
Minus
light
2
on it.
minutes.
Today morning's
number
winds
76
were
completed.
measured using the wind profiler at SDSC. This data was then fed to the mission simulation software, and the corrections required in the launch elevation angle and the launch azimuth angle to compensate for the performance deviations of VIKRAM-S due to this wind are calculated. As you know, these adjustments are possible with the launcher. The azimuth and the launch elevation angle have been set accordingly. The launch azimuth is at 80 degrees and 100 degrees, the LEA and launch azimuth, as I said. And this is what is required for this mission. This is a standard procedure for all the suborbital rocket launches from SDSC.
उड़ान से बस 1 मिनट 10 सेकंड दूर हम लोग, और जैसे मेरी सहयोगी माधुरी जी ने बताया आपको कि हम लोगों ने आज सुबह
Minus
ये
1 minute.
हवा की रफ्तार गति नापी है,
Minus
और
45
इस मापन
seconds.
को हमने अपने मिशन सिमुलेशन प्रोग्राम में डाला है,
Minus 50 seconds.
और कौन सी एंगल से किस धरती से
Minus
कितना
48
एंगल बनाते
seconds.
हुए ये रॉकेट उड़े, ताकि हम जो चाहते हैं, जो कक्षा हम
Minus
चाहते हैं, जो
40
ऊंचाई हम
seconds.
चाहते हैं, वो हमें मिले। ये माधुरी जी ने बताया आपको। रॉकेट का व्यू
Minus 30 seconds.
लॉन्च से सिर्फ 30 सेकंड दूर। हम अब ज्यादा बोलने वाले नहीं है,
Minus
कुछ देर
30
तक
seconds.
हम
Event
आपके
number
साथ मिल
80
करके
completed.
इस रॉकेट की व्यूज को
Minus
एंजॉय
25
करेंगे।
seconds.
Last few minutes, last few seconds, 20 seconds, we
Minus
momentarily
20
go
seconds.
quiet, and we feel the launch along with
Minus
you.
15.
We enjoy the launch along with you. Just 10 seconds to launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Event number 96 completed.
And we have a successful
Event number
liftoff
98 completed.
of VIKRAM-S rocket. I think I should be able to show you the jubilant environment here at the Mission Control Center, where the entire team is celebrating the launch and the spin stabilized rocket. The views from the launcher camera. In a few seconds, the vehicle will undergo the condition of maximum aerodynamic pressure followed by the motor burnout, and we will get you those confirmations shortly. The vehicle will experience Qmax around 15 seconds, and at the same time maximum aerodynamic loads will occur. Just to remind the viewers, this is an aerodynamically stabilized vehicle. At 20 seconds flight time, we have reached Mach 5, which means it is flying at 5 times the velocity of sound. And with this, the vehicle has achieved hypersonic velocities. It looks like we do have successful burnout, and the flight trajectory is tracking as per the prediction.
Rocket is now at the altitude of 66 kilometers, 67 now. We have completed 80 seconds of flight time. We are around 34 seconds away from the launch pad, and the totally intended trajectory is being followed. The present altitude is 75 kilometers. As we slowly go towards our target of crossing 80 kilometers and way beyond that, nominally we expect to be around 100 kilometers when the peak altitude occurs. See the screen.
Views from the Mission Control Center.
86 kilometers in altitude. We are at 85 kilometers now, and slowly and steadily we are reaching our peak altitude. If you can see it on the screens, the altitude profile is being shown. Around 133 seconds have passed. We are very close to our peak altitude. We are now at around 88 kilometers peak altitude, and everything has gone as per we have planned. We are very close to the peak altitude now. The peak altitude performance has been reached at around 155 seconds, and now slowly the rocket will start its descent. Actually, it has just started from 88 kilometers. Now it has come to around 87.1 kilometer. The peak altitude being met, this mission today has given a good, successful, satisfactory performance as intended by us.
जी हाँ, एक सफल उड़ान, प्रथम उड़ान विक्रम एस के लिए प्रारंभ बड़ा ही रोचक रहा। यह रॉकेट अपने गंतव्य तक भी पहुंचा और अब अपनी ऑल्टीट्यूड को घटाने की कोशिश में मात्र 70 किलोमीटर की ऑल्टीट्यूड पर अब यह रॉकेट स्थित है।
This rocket achieved the apogee of 89.5 kilometers. That is, the peak altitude achieved by this rocket was 89.5. Our target was to cross 80 kilometers. As you all know, 80 kilometers is commonly defined as the start of space. So this rocket successfully went into space as we intended. And now, after completing its mission of achieving the peak orbit, creating the conditions for the payloads to function, and completing its job successfully, it is on its way back to a safe splashdown in the Bay of Bengal as we have intended. The range right now is 115 kilometers away from Shar, and we expect it to impact somewhere around 130 kilometers away from Shar. The whole thing has gone as per planned. ये बहुत ही खुशी की बात है कि स्काईरूट की तरफ से उनके पहले अभियान में ही जो उन्होंने प्लान किया था, जो हमने प्लान किया था, वो हम सक्सेसफुल रहे, और अब ये रॉकेट अपने स्प्लैश डाउन के बहुत ही नजदीक है और हम किसी भी क्षण अब स्प्लैश डाउन के करेंगे और ये मिशन सक्सेसफुली अकम्प्लिश हो जाएगा।
Plus
हम
5 minutes.
यहाँ पर बधाई देना चाहेंगे इन स्पेस को, जिन्होंने इस पूरे मिशन को रेगुलेट किया, गाइड किया। हम बधाई देना चाहेंगे सतीश धवन स्पेस सेंटर श्रीहरिकोटा को, जिन्होंने ये हमें फैसिलिटेट किया। इसरो को, इसरो चेयरमैन को, we thank all these people. We are humbled by the support which we got. Happy views from the mission control. And yeah, and now we take leave from you. Goodbye from our side, handing over to Sri Pawan Goenka, Chairman in Space, for his speech.
Thank you, viewers. Goodbye.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us. We sign off.
Safety officer, confirm clear launch.
Please stand by. We are going for inspection. We'll assess and clear. Otherwise, normal.
Good morning. I'm happy to announce the successful completion of mission Prarambh, the beginning of a skyroot aerospace. The rocket VIKRAM-S took off at LEA of 80 degrees and azimuth of 100 degrees, achieved an altitude of 89.5 kilometers and a range of 121.2 kilometers, exactly what was planned by Skyroot Aerospace. All systems, as I can make out, worked as planned, and Skyroot Aerospace has demonstrated capability of various subsystems that will go into the orbital launch vehicle. I congratulate Skyroot Aerospace, their team members, and thank various centers of ISRO, specifically SDSC, STRAC, and VSSC, team members of InSpace, led by Director PMA, Dr. Jain, and Director Technical, Mr. Rajiv Jyoti. And many thanks to multiple reviews conducted by experts from ISRO, InSpace, and from outside for the mission readiness and launch clearance, led by Dr. B. Suresh. This is a new beginning for Indian private sector entry into space, and it's a historic moment for all of us. We have the pleasure of having Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh, here with us to give us encouragement, and I request him to give his thoughts on what today's mission means for our country. Dr. Singh.
Congratulations, India. It is indeed a new beginning, a new dawn, and shall I say, very appropriately, as our team members have put it, a new Prarambh in the journey of India's space program. And very many thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, who has made this effort possible by opening up the space sector to public-private participation. It's also a major step forward to India developing its own space ecosystem and emerging as a frontline nation in the community of world nations. And of course, a turning point in India's startup movement. Well done, Team Skyroot. The co-founders can join me here. Pawan, IIT Kharagpur alumni, Bharat, IIT Madras alumni, who have worked day and night to make this possible.
And of course, kudos ISRO. You have this day on the 18th of November 2022 added yet one more feather into your much decorated hat. And thanks ISRO for putting India as a frontline nation in the years to come, and a nation to which others would look forward to, vital cues in the journey of space sector. Thanks once again. Congratulations. Congratulations, everybody. Well done.
And I request Pawan Chandana, Mission Director for Prarambh Mission and also co-founder of Skyroot, to talk about what it took to reach up to this point. And Bharat is the co-founder of Skyroot. He is also here.
Honorable Union Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Secretary, Department of Space, Dr. Somnath Ji, Chairman in Space, Dr. Pawan Goenka Ji, Director Shar, Director VSSC, respected guests, our colleagues, and everyone watching this online. We are very excited to announce that we scripted history today by successfully launching India's first privately developed rocket, VIKRAM-S. The vehicle reached space to an altitude of 89.5 kilometers and completed the required mission objectives. This Prarambh mission, as the name signifies, is the beginning of a new era in the Indian space ecosystem. Team Skyroot dedicates this successful mission to Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who boldly started the Indian space program in the 1960s, and Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Ji, who unlocked the space sector to the private players. And most importantly, we thank InSpace and ISRO, all their teams and their dynamic leadership who enable this mission in this most efficient way. With the able help of ISRO, this challenging mission was executed by a startup Skyroot and our very new space regulator, InSpace, within just 2 years from the government announcing space reforms. Ladies and gentlemen, this Prarambh mission symbolizes not only India's first private rocket launch, it also symbolizes the potential of New India. We thank each and every team member of Skyroot for making this historic moment a reality, and their family members for supporting them throughout this challenging journey. And importantly, we thank all our shareholders who have been our backbone in this endeavor. This is a small step by a startup and a giant leap for the Indian space industry. It's just the Prarambh of a great future. Thank you.
May I now request Rajiv Jyoti, Technical Director in InSpace, to talk about the role played by ISRO and InSpace in facilitating this launch.
Very good morning to all of you. At the outset, let me also congratulate the Skyroot team for scripting and making a new beginning in the Indian space sector with the maiden launch of this rocket Prarambh. Respected Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, and our Honorable Secretary, Department of Space, and our Chairman in Space, our Member Finance, Team Skyroot, especially Pawan and Bharat, team led ISRO, which is led by Director VSSC, Director Shar, and Director ISRAC. Today's success is the culmination of efforts which is being made by various ISRO centers who proactively contributed in the launch mission of this rocket, designed and built by a private company, Skyroot. The whole launch support was given they were provided in various forms, like today's SHAR has given is SDSC, SRC, the sounding rocket complex launch pad for its operation for the private launch rocket. Sounding rocket integration and checkout facilities, tracking radar support, the ranging and tracking operations, ground and range safeties, entity testing, and many mission hardwares which were supplied to the Skyroot team. And ISTREC also provided a support for compatibility tests at the development phase and ground station support during the launch in the receiving telemetry which you are seeing on your screens. For all this support, Department of Space and InSpace have facilitated Skyroot by signing multiple tripartite joint project implementation plan with multiple ISRO centers. Prarambh being maiden flight, safety was the paramount importance. So no stone was left unturned. Various expert committees were constituted to review the requirements of launch system mission and operation. I compliment the Skyroot team for providing compliance to all those recommendations which were given during the various development phase. The mission review and the launch review committee, chaired by veteran rocket expert Dr. B.N. Suresh, and the member from ISRO and InSpace, and ex-officio experts from ISRO, they all critically reviewed each and every mission readiness requirements, launch vehicle systems, integration preparations, quality aspects, as well as the most important, the safety guidelines. Finally, after obtaining all the compliances of all the actions, SHAR range safety clearance was obtained. Committee got a confidence and gave approval for the final launch. And really, I thanks to rain God also that we are lucky that today we got a favorable launch window during this cyclonic month. I'm sure that flight data of this mission will be received, which are received at the various ground stations, is going to be very useful for Skyroot for their future mission. We will be giving not only for this performance of vehicle, but also give confidence for their next orbital mission. So this being a technology demonstration flight, it will help to validate their systems which have gone as a payload into this launch vehicle. On the behalf of InSpace team, I once again congratulate the team Skyroot and looking forward to work for your upcoming orbital missions. ISRO is with you. Thanks to the Department of Space, Chairman ISRO and Secretary DOS, MRR and Launch Vehicle Committee for giving guidance during this landmark journey of great achievement. Jai Hind.
नमस्कार, हार्दिक स्वागत है आप सभी दर्शकों का इसरो के एक और महत्वपूर्ण मिशन में जिसका नाम है LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 मिशन। मैं विकास स्वर्णकार सतीश धवन अंतरिक्ष केंद्र शार श्रीहरिकोटा के मिशन नियंत्रण कक्ष से आप सभी दर्शकों का हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करता हूं। आज मध्य रात्रि के पश्चात 23 अक्टूबर 2022 को 12:07 पर इसरो के भीमकाय रॉकेट LVM-3 का प्रमोचन शार के द्वितीय प्रमोचन मंच से किया जा रहा है। इस प्रमोचन का मुख्य मिशन होगा वन वेब द्वारा निर्मित 36 उपग्रहों को 601 किलोमीटर की वृत्ताकार निम्न भूकक्षा में स्थापित करना। भारत सरकार के अंतरिक्ष विभाग के अधीन भारतीय अंतरिक्ष अनुसंधान संगठन इसरो की वाणिज्यिक शाखा न्यू स्पेस इंडिया लिमिटेड NSIL के माध्यम से यह मांग आधारित पहला LVM-3 का समर्पित वाणिज्यिक मिशन है। यह एक ऐतिहासिक उपलब्धि है क्योंकि इस प्रमोचन के साथ GSLV Mark 3 वैश्विक वाणिज्यिक प्रमोचन सेवा बाजार में प्रवेश कर रहा है।
Namaste viewers and a hearty welcome to the live telecast of LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India One mission from the Mission Control Center. I am Madhuri, bringing to you the commentary for the launch. You're watching it live on DD National. Live telecast is also available on ISRO website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India One mission about to be launched from the second launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center, Shar, Sriharikota, the only spaceport of India located in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh on the eastern coast. The launch will take place at the Indian Standard Time of 7 minutes and 40 seconds past midnight on 23rd October 2022. This will be the first commercial launch for the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark 3, abbreviated as LVM-3, to carry 36 numbers of satellites belonging to Messrs. Network Access Associates Limited UK or Messrs. OneWeb through the commercial arm of ISRO, New Space India Limited. The OneWeb satellites are intended to provide LEO-based broadband services for commercial usage. Cumulative payload mass of the satellites is 5,834.4 kg. Let me also intimate the viewers that the payload capacity of LVM-3 into the low Earth orbit is 8,000 kg. 36 satellites will be placed in 601 kilometers altitude with 87.4 degrees inclination in batches of 4 satellites simultaneously. Up next is the brief informative video for the mission.
Go ahead.
Activity 391. Charging of Prarambh hydraulic accumulators commenced and health sector normal. T1 can return the pulsars. T1 pulsar on.
ISRO's heaviest launcher, LVM-3 M2, is now in position at the second launch pad at Satish Dhawan Space Center to carry its first commercial payload of United Kingdom's global communications network, OneWeb.
Today we are going to witness one of the historic events in the space activities of this country, the launch of GSLV Mark 3, the LVM-3 OneWeb One mission happening from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. This is the first ever commercial launch of the new rocket LVM-3. And we are very happy to have our customers, OneWeb, having their 36 satellites ready to be deployed in this mission.
Well, it's truly a red letter day today for India, for NCL, ISRO, and importantly for OneWeb. As we embark upon the 14th launch of OneWeb, which will inject 36 new satellites into the orbit, this becomes a very special moment for all of us. I am therefore very glad that today we are lifting off one of the most important missions from India on a GSLV Mark III rocket, India's heavy lift rocket, which will take 36 satellites to the low Earth orbit.
It will place 36 satellites in a low Earth orbit, increasing the OneWeb fleet to 464. Further launches in 2023 will complete the constellation. The satellites will be arranged in 12 rings, with 49 satellites in each plane. Each satellite will complete a full trip around the Earth every 109 minutes, while the Earth will be rotating underneath satellites. The satellites will always be flying over new locations on the ground. OneWeb's mission is to deliver global connectivity services, and with this launch, OneWeb will be one step closer to offering its high-speed, low-latency services to connect governments, businesses, and communities around the world. OneWeb has partnered with New Space India Limited, NCL, the commercial arm of Indian Space Research Organization, for this launch.
Today's launch of LVM-3 M2 mission is extremely significant milestone for New Space India Limited, as it would open up the big global commercial launch service market for this heavy lift launcher, especially in the context when many operators world over are looking to build LEO satellites as part of constellation for meeting global communication needs. This effort of New Space India Limited would go a long way in enhancing India's market share in the global space economy.
LVM-3 has established itself as a reliable launch vehicle of ISRO. In the past few days, ISRO has been diligently making the vehicle launch ready for this flight. LVM-3 M2 will for the first time launch multiple satellites into low Earth orbit and has the heaviest payload mass till date. With this launch, LVM-3 will mark entry into the international commercial service market and reach new heights.
Roger.
अभी अभी आपने संक्षिप्त वीडियो में देखा सेक्रेटरी डीओएस, चेयरमैन भारतीय मित्तल ग्रुप तथा सीएमडी एनएसआईएल ने इस मिशन के महत्व के बारे में हमें बताया। LVM-3 लॉन्च व्हीकल मार्क 3 की कुल 4 उड़ानें हो चुकी हैं और यह सभी उड़ानें सफल रही हैं। दिसंबर 2014 को GSLV मार्क 3 केयर मिशन से शुरुआत करते हुए GSLV ने अपने विकासशील मिशन D1, D2 में सफलता प्राप्त की और उच्च भार को अंतरिक्ष तक ले जाने का प्रदर्शन किया। फिर 22 जुलाई 2019 को भारत का गौरवपूर्ण चंद्रयान 2 भी GSLV मार्क 3 की सफलतापूर्वक प्रमोशन से किया गया। आज इस कड़ी में एक नया मील का पत्थर साबित होने जा रहा है। इसरो के सभी केंद्रों से वैज्ञानिक अभियंताओं के योगदान से तैयार यह प्रमोशन यान पूर्णतः सज्ज है OneWeb इंडिया 1 मिशन को पूरा करने के लिए। इस लॉन्च की उल्टी गिनती ठीक 24 घंटे पूर्व प्रारंभ हो चुकी है। इस दौरान यान को पावर ऑन कर सभी स्वास्थ्य जांच पूरे किए जा चुके हैं। तरल नोदक के भराव की स्थिति प्राप्त कर भराव किया जा चुका है। बैटरी का आवेशन सभी ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन के संचार जांच, मिशन कंप्यूटर, वास्तविक समय तंत्र, एकॉस्टिक सप्रेशन सिस्टम, गायरो पैकेजेस आदि की जांच पूरी की जा चुकी है। अब कुछ अंतिम जांचों के पश्चात
minus 22 minutes.
यान निदेशक
Request all
ऑटोमेटिक
stations
लॉन्च सीक्वेंस
change
की
over to
शुरू
channel
करेंगे।
2 at T minus 21 minutes. No confirmation is needed to control.
The countdown for the LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is 24 hours long and has begun at midnight on 22nd of October 2022. Typically during the countdown, the liquid propellants are serviced into the stages. The gas bottles for command and pressurization are charged to the requisite pressure. The avionic systems are subjected to checks. Critical ground systems are subjected to health checks. All these activities are currently in progress at the launch complex.
Roger.
We are about 21 minutes from the launch time.
Minus 21 minutes. Request all stations change over to channel 2.
ROD, Roger. CY to ROD, all range instrumentation systems are ready for LVM-3 up to 100 India 1 launch. ROD, Roger. Networks are ready for the launch of LVM-3 up to 100 India 1 mission. ALC not PIL ALS mode. ROD, Roger. RSO to ROD. Range safety systems are ready for the launch of LVM-3 up to 100 India 1 mission. Telemetry can start storage. ROD, Roger. CNC to TTC Director. All stack elements are ready to support the launch of LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission. TTC Director, Roger.
Minus 20 minutes.
Storage started at LCC.
Storage started at VLCC. Normal L110 stage is cleared for LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India on mission.
Cryo Chief confirms normalcy of C25 stage.
Control to note, event number 447 completed.
The mission executives are conveying the readiness of their respective systems.
This is Vehicle Director. Based on the vehicle system performance, LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission, launch vehicle is ready for launch.
Satellite Director to Mission Director. All satellites and dispenser are ready for launch.
ROD to Mission Director. Range is ready for the launch of LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
Roger. TC Director to Mission Director. Extract TC stations and network is ready for supporting LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission. Roger.
This is Mission Director. Based on the clearances from Vehicle Director, Satellite Director, Range Operations Director, TTC Director, the LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is authorized.
All stations to note. Mission Director has given authorization for launch.
अभी अभी आपने सुना स्ट्रैक के निदेशक, उपग्रह निदेशक, यान निदेशक, रेंज निदेशक, टेलीमेट्री ट्रैकिंग एंड कमांड निदेशक, इन सभी ने अपने तंत्रों की सूचना मिशन निदेशक को दे दी और इसके बाद इन सभी तंत्रों को संतोषजनक पाने पर मिशन निदेशक ने ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस तथा लॉन्च को आगे जाने की अनुमति दे दी है।
You have watched on your screens the mission director clearing the launch and authorizing the start of automatic launch sequence a little while ago. The vehicle is hereafter on the onboard computers. The final parameter verification of the rocket stages takes place. Decisions will be taken by the onboard computers in autonomous mode hereafter.
October, in the early morning of LVM-3 M2 mission from India's spaceport, Sriharikota, is for launching 36 numbers of OneWeb Gen-1 satellites. With this launch, we are entering into the international commercial launch through NCL. This is the first commercial mission for LVM-3 through NCL, and it is our first multi-satellite mission to low Earth orbit. It is also the first launch from India with a 6-ton payload, which is the highest ISRO has done so far.
The nozzle end segment of S200 is assembled with the nozzle and control system elements, and thereafter the middle and head end segments in dedicated assembly towers and shifted on to the mobile launch pedestal for the assembly of igniter and the strap-on nose cone that houses control electronics, and this is being carried out in the solid stage assembly building called SSAB.
S200 मोटर को पूर्ण परिपक्व उत्पादन प्रणाली के साथ सॉलिड मोटर प्रोडक्शन कॉम्प्लेक्स शार द्वारा निर्मित किया जाता है। यह मोटर 3 सेगमेंट से बना होता है। आपने देखा सर्वप्रथम NES को रखा गया, फिर मिडिल सेगमेंट, उसके ऊपर HES सेगमेंट और अंत में इग्नाइटर को एकीकृत किया गया। अब आप देख रहे हैं S200 नोज कोन को S200 के ऊपर में एकीकृत किया जा रहा है। S200 नोज कोन के अंदर वो सभी संबंधित एवियोनिक्स तंत्र उपलब्ध होते हैं जो S200 के स्वास्थ्य जांच तथा कार्य के लिए आवश्यक होते हैं।
SGC Sharp is proud to be part of the first commercial mission of LVM-3 family, which is making its debut into the global commercial launch service market. SGSC is responsible for realizing 2 numbers of S200 solid motor strap-ons for each LVM-3. All the major subsystems were converged at SGSC Sharp, which includes L110 stage, C25 cryo stage, and payload fairings, which are all assembled in a seamless manner. The entire operation of 36 numbers of OneWeb satellite to dispenser and payload adapter were carried out in a record time without compromising any of the quality, reliability, and safety measures, and were done in a qualified clean room. SGSC Shah provided the requisite mechanical, electrical, and checkout interfaces and verified the same. Integration of the LVM-3 M2 vehicle by stacking the stages were carried out in SSAB and VAB facilities and moved to launch pad on 15th October 2022. During the entire launch campaign, there was no anomalies. In the meantime, the range system involving radar, telecommand, MOTR, ground station, communication, vehicle surveillance, CCTV subsystems were verified along with real-time networks, mission computers, meteorology, range and ground safety systems. We are glad to note all the range systems are ready to provide the support for liftoff.
That's the L110 core stage being prepared in a specialized facility horizontally, and it will be moved to SSAB for tilting and precise assembly between the two S200 motors.
यहाँ आप देख रहे हैं L110 स्टेज पूरी तरह तैयार तथा परीक्षण पूर्ण होकर IPRC महेंद्रगिरी द्वारा शार लाया जाता है और शार में आगे के परीक्षण तथा एकीकरण कार्यक्रम जारी किए जाते हैं। आप देख रहे हैं 2 नोजल हैं, यह 2 विकास इंजन के नोजल हैं, पूर्णतः तैयार L110 स्टेज।
The forthcoming launch is the 5th mission in the success saga of LVM-3. LVM-3 is being human rated for the human spaceflight mission, Gaganyaan, and as part of human rating of LVM-3, more confidence building tests of all propulsion systems, including L110, S200, and cryo stages have been conducted successfully. This has added more confidence into the vehicle system performance and also proved the robustness of the vehicle systems. The all-up mass of OneWeb India satellites with the dispenser is 5.8 ton, and there are 36 satellites, each weighing about 145 kg. The vehicle lift-off mass is nearly 643 tons. The upcoming mission is a unique one, which demands separation of all 36 satellites into 600 kilometer orbit, and the separation has to be sequenced in such a way that the customer requirement of minimum 137 meter distance between any pair of satellite is met. This is achieved by orienting and reorienting the cryo stage using the onboard thrusters. The total mission duration from takeoff to last satellite separation is more than 5,500 seconds, or about 91 minutes. In order to be compatible with the customer satellite dispenser interface, the payload adapter was modified and a new PLA was realized.
Assembled launch vehicle is then moved from the low base solid stage assembly building to the high bay vehicle assembly building for assembly of upper stages and encapsulated assembly.
S200 और L110 को समायोजित कर व्हीकल असेंबली बिल्डिंग लाया गया.
Propulsion complex have realized and delivered the L110 and C25 stages for this vehicle. L110 stage is the liquid stage with 110 tons of UH-25 and N2O4 propellant combination, powered by twin Vigas engines delivering 160 tons of thrust. This stage function is managed by 69 fluid control components and modules. The C25 cryogenic stage is fully indigenously developed with LH2 and large propellant loading of 28 tons and is powered by a 19-ton thrust CE20 cryogenic engine operating on gas generator cycle. For this mission, C25 stage alone adds a velocity of 14,800 km per hour, which is 54% of the total incremental velocity required for this mission. This mission is a very complex mission. After C25 stage shutdown, we have to separate all 36 satellites in various locations. For this purpose, unlike in earlier missions, C25 stage has to operate for 4,500 seconds after the C25 engine shutdown. The mission management and maneuver is done utilizing residual propellant and gases from the propellant tanks. Extensive fluid flow and thermal studies are carried out to understand the fluid behavior and propellant evaporation under micro-G conditions. To accomplish this mission, elaborate mission simulation studies are carried out and necessary improvements have been done in the vehicle and mission management systems.
That's the C25 moving to VAB for assembly.
अब क्रायो चरण को पूर्ण परीक्षण कर VAB लाया जाता है. यह तीसरा चरण है LVM3 का. इसे VAB लाकर L110 स्टेज के ऊपर में सावधानी पूर्वक समायोजित कर दिया जाता है.
In the OneWeb India mission, the LVM3 launch vehicle is equipped with an autonomous inertial navigation system. This system is designed with ISRO ring laser gyroscope and ceramic servo accelerometers. The unique feature of this mission is the long duration in order to accomplish separation of 36 satellites in this mission. The almost 1.5 hours it takes from the launch to the achieving the final goal, and as well as passivation of the upper stage. Another very unique feature is the precision injection of each satellite such that they don't collide during separation. Not only collide during separation, but also maintain the separation in the long term also. This calls for certain maneuvers as well as pointing of the launch vehicle, as well as add certain incremental velocity between satellite separation. So this need to be done in a very precise manner, and for this the laser gyros are equipped, or they have the capability to measure arc seconds, that is 1/3600 of a degree, as well as micro G, that is 1 millionth of a acceleration due to gravity. Also, we have NAVIC-based GNSS-aided navigation system so that the preliminary orbit determination can be carried out and the POD can be made available to the customer.
Here's the equipment B. Prepared satellites assembled to the satellite dispenser and encapsulated assembly with payload fairing in the SPF-2.
इक्विपमेंट बे में जिसमें यान से संबंधित सभी एवियोनिक्स पैकेज होते हैं उसे समायोजित कर दिया गया। उसके पश्चात अंतिम में सभी उपग्रहों को समायोजित कर ऊष्मा कवच के अंदर सुरक्षित कर VAB लाया जाता है। यान अपने पूर्ण स्वरूप में VAB से UT की यात्रा करता हुआ यह व्हीकल असेंबली बिल्डिंग से उम्बिलिकल टावर तक 900 मीटर की दूरी तय करता है, अधिकतम वेग 10 मीटर प्रति मिनट के साथ।
The fully assembled LVM-3 on its journey to the launch pad.
Of LVM-3 M2 mission is very unique in trajectory perspective, where the launch vehicle is ascending to the 600 kilometer polar orbit with an inclination of 87.4 degree. ISRO through its ground station network located at Sriharikota, Bangalore, Thiruvananthapuram, Antarctica, Svalbard, and Shipborne Terminal (SBT) is strategically positioned in the Indian Ocean nearly 4,500 km from Chennai. That will be providing the much needed telemetry and tracking support for the launch vehicle as well as the determination of precise injection parameters for all the 36 OneWeb satellites. ISRO has successfully operationalized a 4.6 meter robust transportable terminal with the advanced features which can be operated at any suitable location either on land or on sea, which even in rough and inclement weather can support the mission.
यान पूरी तरह तैयार और सज्ज है अपना मिशन पूरा करने के लिए। अब हम उड़ान से 4 मिनट 49 सेकंड की दूरी पर ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस जारी है। इस दौरान सभी जांच ऑन कंप्यूटर द्वारा किए जा रहे हैं।
The launch of LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is the fourth launch of ISRO in the year 2022. The earlier launches being those of Workhorse PSLV and the maiden launch for SSLV. While Satish Dhawan Space Center is all set to host its 83rd launch vehicle mission and the second launch pad its 31st mission, this is the fifth time LVM-3 is set to lift off.
Minus 4 minutes.
Start.
LVM-3 पंचम पीढ़ी का प्रमोचक रॉकेट है। यह भीमकाय रॉकेट पिछले सभी यानों की तुलना में सबसे अधिक विकसित तथा उन्नत अभिकल्पित किया गया है। इसकी ऊंचाई 43.5 मीटर तथा व्यास 4 मीटर का होता है। इसका कुल उत्थापन भार लगभग 640 टन का होता है। यह 3 चरणों वाला प्रमोचक रॉकेट जिसकी क्षमता 4 टन के नितभार को भूतुल्यकाली अंतरण कक्षा में ले जाने की है अथवा 8 टन के नितभार को निम्न भू कक्षा में स्थापित करने की है। इस यान के प्रथम चरण में दो 200 टन वाले ठोस नोदक S200 स्ट्रेप-ऑन बूस्टर कोर के में लगे L110 चरण जो कि तरल नोदक पर आधारित है उसके साथ संलग्न रहते हैं और ऊपर के चरण में 27 टन के क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन पर आधारित C20 इंजन वाला C25 चरण होता है।
The maiden launch of the rocket had carried non-operational cryo stage and experimental payload crew module atmospheric re-entry experiment or CARE. Thereafter, the developmental launches designated as D1 and D2 had carried GSAT class of communication satellites. The first operational launch M1 had Chandrayaan-2 as its payload on 22nd of July 2019. We are about 2 minutes, 10 seconds from the launch.
Minus 2 minutes.
इस मिशन का मुख्य उद्देश्य 36 उपग्रहों को, जिनका कुल नितभार 5,834 केजी है, 601 किलोमीटर की वृत्ताकार निम्न भूकक्षा में 87.4 डिग्री के झुकाव के साथ स्थापित करना है। यह सभी पूर्णतः परीक्षित होकर इस यान में सुरक्षित अपनी कक्षा के लिए सफर करते हुए 4-4 के समूह में 9 बार में अपनी कक्षा में अंतक्षेपित किए जाएंगे। यह पूरा घटनाक्रम लगभग 4,500 सेकंड का होगा।
Minus 1 minute.
LVM-3 being a gigantic rocket, the ignition of twin S-200 boosters generates enormous acoustics at the time of liftoff that have the potential to damage the electronics in launch vehicle. As a part of acoustic suppression
Minus
system,
40 seconds.
huge quantities of water is injected onto the launch pedestal
Minus 40
to
seconds.
provide denser medium of water droplets to attenuate
Minus
the liftoff
30 seconds.
acoustics.
Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds.
अब हम 20 सेकंड की दूरी पर प्रमोचन
Minus
से
20 seconds.
सर्वप्रथम 2 S-200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर का प्रज्वलन होगा।
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
P3 tracking.
Off normal.
भव्य उत्थापन LVM-3 OneWeb India 1 मिशन का।
Normal liftoff and an enchantingly beautiful sight of the twin S-200 boosters burning, saluted against the night sky.
मध्य रात्रि को आकाश को रोशन करता हुआ S-200 boosters
Performance normal.
यहाँ हम इसके कंपन महसूस कर रहे हैं।
Searing the night sky, the LVM-3 M2 mission moves forward. 25 meters long S-200 boosters, each carrying 205 tons of HTPB-based propellant.
Plus 1 minute.
Action time 126.6 seconds. They develop a peak thrust of 5,952 kilonewtons in vacuum.
प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य।
First stage performance normal.
इसका प्रज्वलन काल करीब 130 सेकंड का होगा। S-200 के प्रज्वलन काल समाप्त होने से पहले ही L110 जो कि तरल नवोदक पर आधारित चरण है, द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू कर दिया जाएगा।
L110 stage ignited.
Now we have a confirmation about the ignition of the core L110 stage.
रेंज ऑपरेशन निदेशक ने अभी घोषणा की, तरल नोदक L110
Separated.
और S-200 स्टेज के बूस्टर्स पृथक कर दिए गए हैं।
The twin S-200 boosters have been separated from the ongoing launch vehicle. L110 core stage currently thrusting.
L110 stage performance normal.
This is powered by the Earth storable propellants UH-25 as fuel and N2O4 as oxidizer. The twin Vikas engine powered L110 stage has a nominal burn duration of 200 seconds.
Payload fairing separated.
ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है.
Loop guidance initiated.
अब यान
Plus 3 minutes.
127 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है तथा घने वातावरण से बाहर जा चुका है, इसलिए ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है और अब यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है.
Having crossed the dense atmosphere, the payload fairings have been separated and the rocket is currently moving forward in closed loop guidance. L110 currently thrusting.
L110 स्टेज में लगभग 110 टन के UH-25 तथा N2O4 ईंधन के रूप में प्रयोग किए जाते हैं. इनकी मदद से यह चरण 1600 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न करता है तथा इसका प्रज्वलन काल 200 सेकंड का होगा.
The L110 carries the rocket to 282.4 kilometers altitude. Shah, Trivandrum and Bengaluru's ground stations are currently acquiring the trajectory data.
द्वितीय चरण का निष्पादन सामान्य. प्रज्वलन काल के पूर्ण होने तक यह यान को करीब 2082 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्रदान कर देगा और 3.3 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड का वेग प्रदान करेगा.
Developing a vacuum thrust of 1,598 kilonewtons, this stage empties the entire propellant of 110 tons in 200 seconds. That is close to 550 kg in a second.
Plus 5 minutes.
अगला चरण क्रायो चरण है.
And shut off and separated.
L110 चरण को पृथक कर C-25 जो कि तृतीय चरण है उसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है और वह सामान्य निष्पादन कर रहा है.
As announced by the Range Operations Director, we now have the confirmation of the successful ignition of the C-25 cryogenic stage. Currently, the altitude is 333 kilometers.
तृतीय व अंतिम चरण LVM-3 का क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन पर आधारित चरण है जो कि LH2 और LOX को ईंधन की तरह उपयोग में लाता है. यह एक जटिल इंजन है C-20. इस चरण को C-25 चरण कहा जाता है क्योंकि इसमें लगभग 25 टन का क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन होता है. इस चरण का प्रज्वलन L110 चरण के बंद हो जाने के तुरंत बाद कर दिया जाता है. इस चरण में लगभग 650 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित कर 200 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न किया जाता है, जिससे अंतिम चरण है जो उपग्रहों को उनकी अंतःक्षेपण की कक्षीय स्थितियां प्रदान करता है.
The cryogenic upper stage of LVM-3, called the C-25, carries 27 tons of propellant, liquid hydrogen as fuel, and liquid oxygen as oxidizer. The advantage of using cryogenic stages is their remarkably high specific impulse. For the C-25 stage, it is 4,344.3 Newton-second per kg. The total thrust generated is 180 kilonewtons. During the 640 seconds of its operation, there is overlapping visibility from Shar, Trivandrum, Bengaluru tracking stations.
यान के सभी स्वास्थ्य जानकारियां हमें भू स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस की मदद से यहां प्राप्त होती हैं. इस मिशन के लिए शार, बेंगलोर, त्रिवेंद्रम, शिपबॉर्न ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन, अंटार्कटिका, स्वालबर्ड तथा लखनऊ स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस हमें सेवाएं उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। इस समय शार, बेंगलोर तथा त्रिवेंद्रम स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस हमें इस यान की पूरी जानकारी उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। तृतीय चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य। अब हम उत्थापन से 480 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 500 किलोमीटर, सापेक्ष गति 3.7 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड।
View from the VIP gallery, where you can see former chairman of the ISRO.
Normal.
More than 19 minutes into the flight, the orbital conditions for the injection of satellites will be achieved. On your screens now, founder and chairman of Bharti Enterprises, Shri Sunil Mittal.
Plus 9 minutes.
Now a few words about the OneWeb Gen 1 satellites. OneWeb is a global communications network powered from space, enabling connectivity for governments, businesses, and communities. It is implementing a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites. India's Bharti Enterprises serves as a major investor and stakeholder in OneWeb. This is OneWeb's 14th launch and the first with ISRO and NSIL. OneWeb satellites are arranged in 12 orbital planes with 49 satellites in each plane in circular orbit. The constellation will have a total of 648 satellites. Each satellite of OneWeb Gen 1 weighs 150 kgs.
Plus 10 minutes.
C-25 तृतीय चरण LVM-3 का सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ और यान पूर्वानुमानित पथ को अनुसरण करता हुआ अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिक, चेयरमैन ISRO, अब करीब 200 सेकंड की दूरी पर हम कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त करते ही उपग्रहों को उनकी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित करेंगे।
Cryo stage performance normal.
The pole-to-pole connectivity of this satellite constellation combined with the ground segment ensures better look angles for the signal strength. Unless the conventional geostationary satellites where the signal strength diminishes at high latitude regions. As OneWeb slogan says it all, creating universal connections.
OneWeb इन उपग्रहों को Gen 1 सैटेलाइट्स का नाम दिया है। OneWeb एक वैश्विक संचार नेटवर्क है जो कि अंतरिक्ष में अपनी सेवाएं प्रदान करेगा। इस संचार तंत्र से संचार नेटवर्क को सरकार, व्यापार तथा बृहत समुदाय को संचार सेवाएं उपलब्ध होंगी। इसे कार्यान्वित करने के लिए OneWeb के द्वारा एक नक्षत्र मंडल तैयार किया जा रहा है जिसे हम सैटेलाइट कॉन्स्टेलेशन के नाम से जानते हैं। भारत के भारतीय उद्यम OneWeb के मुख्य शेयर होल्डर हैं। यह OneWeb का 14वां लॉन्च है। इसके साथ ही इसरो और NSIL अंतरिक्ष के वैश्विक बाजार में नया अध्याय शुरू करने जा रहे हैं। OneWeb को इस नक्षत्र को पूरा करने के लिए कुल 648 उपग्रहों को प्रक्षेपित करना है। अब हम उड़ान से 750 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 612 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 5.4 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड। तृतीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ और
13
उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर अग्रसर।
As we told you earlier, a set of 4 satellites will be injected in 605.8 kilometers altitude at 19 minutes 45 seconds into the launch.
Cryo stage performance normal.
जैसा कि अभी हमने बताया, यह चरण 650 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित होगा। इसी अंतिम चरण के प्रज्वलन काल में प्रथम समूह के उपग्रहों को उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित किया जाएगा। तत्पश्चात क्रमानुसार उचित अभिवृद्धि प्राप्त कर अन्य समूहों को उनके कक्षा में अंतक्षेपित किया जाएगा। प्रथम 4 उपग्रहों के समूह की उद्दिष्ट कक्षा 602.3 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तथा सापेक्ष गति 7.54 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड निर्धारित है।
We are about 900 seconds into the launch. The current altitude is 602.8 kilometers and a relative velocity close to 7 kilometers per second.
वर्तमान में शिपबॉर्न टर्मिनल के द्वारा हमें इस ट्रैक के डेटा उपलब्ध कराए जा रहे हैं। अब कुछ ही क्षणों में उपग्रह की अंतक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त कर ली जाएंगी।
Cryo stage thrust cutoff.
रेंज ऑपरेशन निदेशक की अभी घोषणा हुई। तृतीय चरण को बंद कर दिया गया है। अब यह प्राप्त वेग को जारी रखते हुए
plus 16 minutes.
कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त करेगा।
After the first batch of satellite injection, a second set of 4 satellites will be separated 30 seconds later at almost the same altitude with almost same relative velocity. The third separation event in the satellite injection is scheduled 800 seconds later, that is to say 33 minutes 35 seconds into the flight. Fourth separation occurs 30 seconds later. The third and fourth batch of satellites are injected into 619 kilometers orbit after the cryogenic stage reorients itself appropriately. Until this time, the shipborne tracking terminal and Antarctica ground stations would have completed their range of tracking and the rocket would have gone to the other side of Earth. Next 5 batches will be separated in predetermined timeline like this. Fifth batch at 47 minutes 26 seconds into flight. Sixth batch at 48 minutes into flight. Seventh batch at 61 minutes 16 seconds into flight. Eighth batch at 61 minutes 46 seconds into flight. And finally the ninth batch
Conditions are achieved.
at 75 minutes 6 seconds into the flight. Present.
प्रथम समूह के अंतक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त की जा चुकी हैं और कुछ ही क्षणों में प्रथम 4 उपग्रह जिनका नाम है 1K, 3K, 5K तथा 7K
18 minutes.
अंतक्षेपित किए जाएंगे।
The cryogenic stage is reorienting itself for the first batch of satellite separation.
आप यह एनिमेशन देख पा रहे हैं C25 जो कि तृतीय चरण है LVM-3 का, उसे बंद कर दिया गया है तथा थ्रस्टर्स की मदद से इसे उचित अभिवृत्ति प्रदान की जा रही है।
The names of the first batch of satellites are 1K, 3K, 5K and 7K, whose injection we are eagerly awaiting.
One K, 3K, 5K, 7K satellites are separated.
प्रथम समूह को सफलतापूर्वक अंतक्षेपित कर दिया गया है। प्रथम 4 1K, 3K, 5K तथा 7K उपग्रह पृथक हो चुके हैं।
Plus 20 minutes.
We have the confirmation from the Range Operations Director that the first batch of 4 satellites, namely 1K, 3K, 5K and 7K, have been successfully separated.
2A, 4A, 6A, 8A satellites are separated.
And the second batch also have been successfully separated. Their names are 2A, 4A, 6A and 8A.
जी हाँ, द्वितीय समूह 2A, 4A, 6A तथा 8A उपग्रहों को भी सफलतापूर्वक अंतक्षेपित कर दिया गया है। इसके पश्चात C25 तृतीय चरण LVM-3 पुनः अभिवृत्ति निश्चित करेगा और अगले 800 सेकंड के पश्चात अगले 4 उपग्रहों के समूहों को अंतक्षेपित करेगा।
Cryostage reorienting itself again for the separation event of the next batch of satellites. The third batch of satellites will be injected into 619 kilometers orbit. The scheduled time of separation is 33 minutes 37.5 seconds into the flight.
तृतीय चरण फिर से अभिवृत्ति नियंत्रित करता हुआ अब हम उड़ान से 1344 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 608 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 7.538 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड है।
As we await the next separation event for the satellites, let me intimate the viewers that after the separation of third and fourth batches of satellites, the visibility of the launch vehicle is available to the Svalbard tracking station only after another 350 seconds, that is 81 minutes into the flight. It is then that the confirmation of satellite separation is received at the Mission Control Center. The live transmission will be halted while the rocket is out of the tracking range and resume at appropriate time.
इस मिशन का कार्यकाल करीब 4500 सेकंड का है। इस दौरान हमें शिपबॉर्न टर्मिनल की मदद से सभी आंकड़े उपलब्ध हो रहे हैं।
The LVM-3 OneWeb India 1 mission is about to set several firsts, like it's being the first commercial mission of LVM-3 with NSIL. First time ever, LVM-3 is carrying multiple satellites and injecting them in the low Earth orbit. This is the largest ever an Indian rocket is carrying, that is the 6 tons of payload. This gigantic launch vehicle of ISRO, LVM-3, is carrying 6 tons for this mission, which is the aggregate mass of the 36 OneWeb satellites and the satellite dispenser. Speaking about the association, this is the first time that OneWeb has collaborated with New Space India Limited, Department of Space.
आइए इस दौरान आपको वन वेब के बारे में जानकारी देते हैं। वन वेब का ऐतिहासिक लॉन्च कार्यक्रम जारी है। इस मिशन को वन वेब ने लॉन्च 14 का नाम दिया है। लॉन्च 14 सतीश धवन अंतरिक्ष केंद्र से भेजा जा रहा है। इसमें 36 उपग्रहों के समूह को प्रमोचित कर दुनिया का पहला पृथ्वी की निचली कक्षा का नक्षत्र मंडल तैयार किया जा रहा है और यह नक्षत्र 2023 तक हाई स्पीड लो लेटेंसी की संचार सुविधाएं प्रदान करने में सक्षम हो जाएगा। OneWeb ने इस प्रक्षेपण के लिए अंतरिक्ष विभाग की वाणिज्यिक शाखा NSIL के साथ भागीदारी की। इस मिशन में कुल 36 उपग्रहों के समूह के साथ OneWeb की कुल उपग्रहों की संख्या 464 हो जाएगी। 2023 तक यह नक्षत्र मंडल पूरा करने के उद्देश्य से OneWeb इस मिशन में कार्यरत है। OneWeb आम जनता के लिए संचार सुविधाएं प्रदान कर सामर्थ्य, गति, विश्वसनीयता तथा डिजिटल साक्षरता के आधार पर विभाजित समाज को जोड़ने की एक मुहिम चला रहा है। सूचना तक दुनिया की पहुंच को बेहतर बनाने के लिए OneWeb का एक मजबूत सामाजिक उद्देश्य है। जैसा कि हमने आपको पहले बताया, यह मिशन कुल 4500 सेकंड का मिशन है, लेकिन उत्थापन से 2200 सेकंड तक यह यान और उपग्रह प्रमोचन को हमारे भू स्टेशन ट्रैक कर सकेंगे। उसके बाद यान अपनी यात्रा जारी रखेगा, लेकिन हमारे ट्रैकिंग क्षेत्र से बाहर चला जाएगा और पुनः संचार स्थापित होने तक हम स्टैंड बाय कंडीशन में रहेंगे। जैसे ही स्वालबर्ड स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन से संचार स्थापित हो जाएगा, हम बाकी के 20 उपग्रहों के अंतःक्षेपण की पुष्टि कर पाएंगे। प्रथम 16 उपग्रहों के प्रमोशन के पश्चात यह हमारे ट्रैकिंग क्षेत्र से बाहर होगा, इसलिए यह प्रसारण 40 मिनट बाद पुनः जारी किया जाएगा।
This wait takes me back to the reminiscences of the previous launch of LVM-3 carrying the Chandrayaan-2 as its payload. It was India's second mission to the moon. It had comprised a fully indigenous orbiter, lander Vikram, and rover Pragyan. Enthusiasm was rife among the scientific fraternity and general public alike for the lander. The challenges for that mission were to carry a heavy payload and inject it precisely in a highly elliptical orbit so that the further orbit raising maneuvers for Chandrayaan-2 are economical from propellant budget point of view. Follow-on missions to bridge the gap of understanding the lunar ambience are on the anvil for ISRO. There are also several ways for the common public to associate with ISRO and its programs. Apart from watching the launch live on its social media portals and Doordarshan National, viewers can visit SDSC Shar and its launch view gallery, which has a capacity to host 10,000 visitors simultaneously for the launch. ISRO undertakes several outreach activities as a part of World Space Week, which was held between 4th to 10th October.
तृतीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ पुनः अभिवृत्ति प्राप्त कर रहा है अगले 4 उपग्रह के समूह के प्रमोशन के लिए। अब हम उत्थापन से 30 मिनट 36 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई है 616 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 7.53 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड। अगले 4 समूह के उपग्रहों का नाम 1A, 3A, 5A तथा 7A है, जिन्हें 619 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तथा 7.53 की किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की सापेक्ष गति के साथ अंतक्षेपित किया जाना है। तृतीय समूह के अंतक्षेपण के 30 सेकंड के पश्चात चतुर्थ समूह को भी अंतक्षेपित कर दिया जाएगा।
We are about 2 minutes away from the scheduled separation of the third batch of satellites, namely 1A, 3A, 5A and 7A. 30 seconds later, another batch of 4 satellites, namely 2B, 4B, 6B and 8B are scheduled to be separated. Cryostage reorienting itself to prepare for the next separation event.
यान पूरी तरह सामान्य। वर्तमान में हमें यह आंकड़े अंटार्कटिका स्थित भू स्टेशन से प्राप्त हो रहे हैं।
Current altitude 617 kilometers. The relative velocity of 7.53 kilometers per second.
अगले 8 उपग्रहों के अंतःक्षेपण के पश्चात कुल 16 उपग्रह इस दौरान अंतःक्षेपित कर दिए जाएंगे। उसके पश्चात यह यान अपनी यात्रा जारी रखेगा तथा पृथ्वी की दूसरी ओर चला जाएगा। उस दौरान वह हमारे ट्रैकिंग क्षेत्र से बाहर होगा।
1A, 3A, 5A, 7A are separated.
अब ये भी घोषणा की गई कि अन्य समूह 1A, 3A, 5A तथा 7A सफलतापूर्वक अंतःक्षेपित कर दिए गए हैं। अगली घटना में 2B, 4B, 6B तथा 8B नामक उपग्रहों को अंतःक्षेपित किया जाना है।
Satellites 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B are separated.
Confirmation has been achieved about the separation of
This is Range Operation Director. 16 satellites are separated till now. Mission is continuing. Remaining 20 satellites will separate as per timeline in the non-visibility period. This 20 satellite separation will be confirmed after Svalbard telemetry station acquisition. All stations involved in operations can continue in positions. Others can reassemble at 01:20 hours. Over to Mission Director.
Mission Director, the vehicle has reached the orbit and as it is declared, 16 satellites out of 36 satellites were successfully separated and the mission is continuing. We will, as it is informed, we will assemble after the mission activities will continue and we will assemble as declared. I am thanking everybody, those who have participated and those who are witnessing this. The operations will continue. Thank you.
We will assemble back at 1:20 on 23rd of October 2022 so that the confirmation of the remaining separation events is achieved by that time.
जी हाँ, मिशन जारी है। अगले 20 उपग्रहों का अंतःक्षेपण किया जाना है और इनके अंतःक्षेपण की पुष्टि 40 मिनट बाद की जाएगी। तब तक हमारे साथ बने रहिए। हम पुनः उपस्थित होंगे 40 मिनट बाद।
And the OneWeb team for this historic mission tonight. In fact, early morning of 23rd of this month. And happy Diwali to all of you. So we started the celebration already in Satish Dhawan Space Center with the second operational mission of LVM-3 and the very first commercial mission of LVM-3. We have accomplished the orbit very accurately. Now the rocket is in its intended orbit. 16 satellites out of the 36 OneWeb 1 spacecrafts have been already injected. I want to tell you that this is a very slow process of separating the satellites one by one. In fact, it is in sets of 4, it will be separated, and it will take long time. So at this moment, let me tell you that 16 have been separated very safely as we expected, and the remaining 20 satellites will be separating when we are not able to see it from this place. The data will come little later, and the mission operations of observing this separation is continuing, and we will be confirming safe separation of the remaining 20 satellites after that process is completed. I am very hopeful that the remaining 20 satellites will also get separated as safely as that they did for the first of the 16. This mission is a historic mission primarily because this is the very second operational mission of LVM-3 that has gone commercial, and this is an opportunity that LVM-3 is able to do such a wonderful mission today, and this has been possible by the support of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, because he wanted LVM-3 to come into the commercial market with the NSIL in the forefront to operationalize our launch vehicles for exploring the expanding commercial domain that is open in front of us. And congratulations to the entire launch vehicle team for grabbing that opportunity and making it ready today for this historic mission. And I also want to thank the OneWeb team for having confidence in us to host it on LVM-3 for their completion of their fleets. And we are very hopeful that the next mission of LVM-3 will do the same to place the remaining 36 satellites that it has been contracted with NSIL for the next launch of LVM-3 M3 mission. Until then, thank you so much, and I take this opportunity to invite CMD NSIL and come over here and then speak to the public, and also to the mission director, Sri Bhaskar, to have his final say on the mission. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone present here and all the viewers who are seeing this beautiful and extremely remarkable mission that we have achieved today. First of all, I would like to compliment the team ISRO for giving us such a commendable mission of LVM-3 and the precise performance, and I would say the most complex mission management for the OneWeb mission. I'm extremely delighted to see the beautiful videos of OneWeb, which we just witnessed now, where we are seeing the satellites getting deployed in space almost at an altitude of around 600 kilometers. I'm proud to say, I'm really delighted and honored, GSLV has made the most remarkable entry into the commercial launch service market. Extremely thankful for OneWeb for having faith in us, in our launch and our, I would say, the most professional and technical capability of the team ISRO. I think though today's successful event is significant in many ways to all the 3 major stakeholders of this particular mission, New Space India Limited, Indian Space Research Organization, and also OneWeb India. And the first and foremost thing that comes to our mind is that with this mission, we have shown to the entire world how to contract and execute the mission in less than 3 to 4 months. I would really say, and this was made possible only because every one of us had the will to do such a mission in the record possible time which the customer was expecting. I'm extremely thankful. And the kind of synergy NSIL, ISRO and OneWeb has demonstrated through this mission is really, I would say, is remarkable and unbelievable. And today's OneWeb mission, I would say, is the beginning of many more business engagement that NSIL is going to do with OneWeb for further strengthening our relationship between the 2 organizations. And with the support of ISRO, that NCL always has, I think we can achieve much more better successes and give much better things to the nation here back. So once again, thank you everyone. Thanks Team ISRO OneWeb for the beautiful successful mission, and I'm very sure the next 20 satellites we will hear in the next 30 to 40 minutes the kind of performance it's going to deliver to us. Thank you very much.
Respected Chairman ISRO, Secretary DOS, all the dignitaries of ISRO, OneWeb team, NWEL, customers, center directors, associate directors, deputy directors, mission executives, all the participants, and the honorable VVIP dignitaries of OneWeb and ISRO. A very warm good morning to all of you. I, on behalf of my project team and the entire team ISRO, is very proud to submit this success to Team ISRO. This was a demand given to us by Chairman ISRO to execute this mission in a very short time of less than 3 months. Once the requirement is defined, the entire team ISRO rose to the occasion, worked with full vigor and systematically as is the wont of ISRO. The entire schedule was success-based and concurrent processing was followed. There was no room for slip, and everything has to be done right at the first time itself. Rigorous activities were complemented with rigorous reviews by both ISRO as well as academia, so that no stone was left unturned and there was no slip. Marathon meetings with our OneWeb customers and NCL and with volumes of data exchange was an immense process, and it was helping each other. We were very proud that we could deliver what the customers expected from us. Praise and thanks be to the Lord, we, the team ISRO, has done what was asked by the management to our team. I submit this success, as our chairman told, as Diwali gift to all our team ISRO. As our chairman told, this is first LVM-3 launch for international commercial satellite mission through NCL to a low Earth orbit carrying about 6-ton payload, the highest launch from our great nation. On this happy occasion, I profusely thank the entire team ISRO, including the top executives, project executives Mr. Narayanan, Mrs. Asha Mary Matthew, the entire project team, all the review teams, all the entity and the working teams, all the ISRO teams, and all the participating teams. I profusely again thank our NCL for giving us this opportunity and having a very fruitful, positive and contributing discussions and interactions. It was so efficient, never we had any misunderstanding, and we had marathon meetings almost every day. And I also bring it to inform and thank the customers, our OneWeb, that we were very happy and very satisfied in interacting with you and sharing all mutual things. Until the end, we never had any difference of opinion and we never had any dissatisfaction. This I can honestly say, and we have met all the requirements what the customers are asked. Now, last but not the least, I am thanking the entire family of all the Team ISRO members, those who have toiled and toiled for this mission. Thank you.
So thank you once again, all of you. We are ending the transmission at this moment, but the mission continues. We are waiting for the confirmation of the remaining satellite separation, and all mission executives will occupy their position to observe that. And thank you once again for this wonderful mission, both to OneWeb as well as NSIL, for enabling us to do this tonight. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Jeff Clark, and today I want to show you something just a little bit crazy. In just a moment, I'm going to take you out on the wild streets of South Florida, where I'm going to conduct a money-generating experiment. Specifically, I'm going to test out a simple but little-known financial move to pay for all of the purchases I'm going to make today. Now, the markets are kind of rocky right now, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen. It's possible I might get kicked out of a few stores, and hopefully nobody calls the cops. But if they do, that's fine. I'm happy to show the cops how it works too, because what I'm about to show you is 100% legal. Now, as you can see, my pockets are empty. I'm taking everything out. I'm leaving my wallet at home. I don't have any cash, no credit cards. All I'm bringing with me is my driver's license and the special Ameritrade card linked to my brokerage account. But let me be clear, I'm not touching any funds that are already in my account. In fact, I'm not planning to pay for anything out of my own pocket. All of the cash I'll need for my purchases today, I'm going to try to generate with the help of a few of my favorite companies. Oh, and the only other thing I'm taking with me is this phone. But I won't be waving it to pay for anything. So come on, let's hit the road and see how it goes. I almost forgot. Before we even start, I need to make one important stop at the gas station. See, I'm running a little low on gas and we're going to be driving around quite a bit today. The last thing I want is to run out of fuel in the middle of nowhere. And I'll tell you, it always burns me up having to pay these gas prices, but I'm going to do something a little special here. I'm going to, with the help of Exxon, since I don't have any cash on me, I'm going to go ahead and generate some cash so I can pay for filling up my tank today. All I need to do is type this simple financial transaction on my phone using Exxon's stock ticker. And if all goes well, in a few moments, cash should magically appear in my account. Now, I don't recommend you make these specific transactions yourself. They're for educational purposes only. And frankly, by the time you watch my experiment, they're not going to be available anymore anyway. But if you follow this short video all the way to the end, you'll find out how to make these sorts of transactions on your own. And with that, I generated enough not just to fill up my card today, but probably for the next couple of times as well. All right, so now I'm going to pay for my gas with this card that's linked to my brokerage account. You want to see something nuts? I actually had Exxon pay for my gas today. Let me show you how I did that. All right, since it works so well right off the bat, I'm going to try this financial experiment again. This time, I'm going to use Starbucks stock to pay for my coffee, using the same 3-second transaction. Now, don't worry, if you missed it the first time, I'll show you exactly how it works again. So pay close attention. You'll notice I'm not buying shares of Starbucks, and I'm not buying any options either. All I'm doing is type in a few keys with the Starbucks ticker symbol, and then wait a few seconds.
This mission.
Well, it's truly a red letter day today for India, for NCL, ISRO, and importantly for OneWeb. As we embark upon the 14th launch of OneWeb, which will inject 36 new satellites into the orbit, this becomes a very special moment for all of us. I am therefore very glad that today we are lifting off one of the most important missions from India on a GSLV Mark III rocket, India's heavy lift rocket, which will take 36 satellites to the low Earth orbit.
It will place 36 satellites in a low Earth orbit, increasing the OneWeb fleet to 464. Further launches in 2023 will complete the constellation. The satellites will be arranged in 12 rings, with 49 satellites in each plane. Each satellite will complete a full trip around the Earth every 109 minutes, while the Earth will be rotating underneath satellites. The satellites will always be flying over new locations on the ground. OneWeb's mission is to deliver global connectivity services, and with this launch, OneWeb will be one step closer to offering its high-speed, low-latency services to connect governments, businesses, and communities around the world. OneWeb has partnered with New Space India Limited, ENSIL, the commercial arm of Indian Space Research Organization, for this launch.
Today's launch of LVM-3 M2 mission is extremely significant milestone for New Space India Limited, as it would open up the big global commercial launch service market for this heavy lift launcher, especially in the context when many operators world over are looking to build LEO satellites as part of constellation for meeting global communication needs. This effort of New Space India Limited would go a long way in enhancing India's market share in the global space economy.
LVM-3 has established itself as a reliable launch vehicle of ISRO. In the past few days, ISRO has been diligently making the vehicle launch ready for this flight. LVM-3 M2 will for the first time launch multiple satellites into low Earth orbit and has the heaviest payload mass till date. With this launch, LVM-3 will mark entry into the international commercial service market and reach new heights.
Roger.
अभी अभी आपने संक्षिप्त वीडियो में देखा सेक्रेटरी डीओएस, चेयरमैन भारतीय मित्तल ग्रुप तथा सीएमडी एनएसआईएल ने इस मिशन के महत्व के बारे में हमें बताया। LVM-3 लॉन्च व्हीकल मार्क 3 की कुल 4 उड़ानें हो चुकी हैं और यह सभी उड़ानें सफल रही हैं। दिसंबर 2014 को GSLV मार्क 3 केयर मिशन से शुरुआत करते हुए GSLV ने अपने विकासशील मिशन D1, D2 में सफलता प्राप्त की और उच्च भार को अंतरिक्ष तक ले जाने